Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting, another amazing Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane. Here, straight from you in the Propaganda Ministry here in Denmark. After doing guys, and here's another 1 vs 1 on Semois. Yes, I know a lot of 1 vs 1s, but most of the matchups that seem interesting are currently on Semois. And again, for 2 vs 2s, it's not that I'm lacking in 2 vs 2s, it's that I'm lacking in good 2 vs 2s. Again, as I keep trying to explain, a good 2 vs 2 is very rare to find. But we shall be watching IronRoman fighting for the Irish Armoured Guards, fighting for the Commonwealth, part of 30th Armoured Corps on its drive towards Arnhem. Opposing him shall be JohnBelloStory. It's a true German with that name, obviously not. But fighting for the Panzer Elite, taking on the fight for the 107th Panzer Brigade, which I always thought the Panzer Elite sort of more structurally fit in with, rather than what some like to think is just as an SS Panzer Division, which is not quite always the case. But onwards, as some would say. Infantry section up there, and of course, I mean, the British actually have a considerably easy thing here on Semois is they have a fuel point right next to their base. That makes it very much easier for the British player to secure a fuel point early on, and basically just ensconce themselves within several MG nests, which can make it a bit more difficult fighting the Brits on Semois, as a usual rule of thumb. Anyways, Lieutenant securing the munitions right there. Recce section moving up the left-hand side, spotting out for the night the initial routes for the next day. A bit of recce, so that the Irish Armoured Guards won't run into some nasty Jerry surprises, but obviously Jerry's on the move. Jerry is counter-attacking, which the 107th Panzer Brigade, as the only real panzer unit in the whole of Holland, in particular outside of Arnhem, really was. I mean, the Panzer Division barely had any panzers, and most of their panzers were within Arnhem. The only one sort of real keep moving about was the Panzer Brigade and perhaps some assault guns. But that was about it. Munition being secured here. Really aggressive start with the Kettenkrats moving out, securing several points. The Kettenkrat actually being a sort of tractor, meant to actually be used on Crete and other things for Fallschirmjäger units that were being dropped in to basically tow around stuff for them. It was later on basically also used for taxing aircraft to save on very expensive aviation fuel. And, well, I believe it was also used in some cases basically as transport for reconnaissance units. I believe one brigade, in fact, had an entire battalion equipped with Kettenkrats. But we are seeing another infantry section out for IronRoman. In fact, we're seeing also the Bren carrier, the mighty Bren carrier. So far, Kettenkrats running out, and we're seeing a straight rush for the Panzer Brigade command for JohnBelloStory, calling in some armoured cars, possibly for one of the Panzer Division, SS Panzer Division nearby or something else, as they actually had that. Armoured cars in larger in Bungeons, in fact, also half-tracks, but they did not have a lot of panzers. In fact, the 2 SS Panzer Divisions in Holland, which people like to cite for having, you know, being the sort of inspiration for this, in fact, had very few panzers even in Normandy. I mean, they had a mix of them. In fact, one of the SS Panzer Divisions had only 1 battalion. That was a mix of Panzer IVs and assault guns. But the Panzer command is that we're also seeing something on the way from the Logistic Company, and we're only seeing 1 Panzer Grenadier squad, so obviously JohnBelloStory is not intending to engage IronRoman and the Commonwealth initially. He's instead intending to take as much territory and basically getting himself some armoured cars, which you figure he can then sort of dance around with IronRoman, do some damage that way. Brain carrier not upgraded for IronRoman, just moving about, doing some harassment, some support. Panzer Grenadiers moving into town. Assault rifles on the way. The Sturmgewehr also fits in fact, with the Panzer Brigades, since they were rather much more heavily equipped with assault rifles. In fact, they were sort of part of the new infantry sort of doctrine the Germans were making, which had less infantry overall, but more firepower in the form of assault rifles. And there we go. Sniper shot on the Panzer Grenadier section. Usually, I mean, a better trick would actually be to wait until they're down to 1 man and try to retreat. Then you go for the sniper shot, because that way, and that's right here what should have happened, that way he could kill him on the retreat. Kettenkrat going straight in behind German lines, and we're watching the Vampire, die Funkwagen. Amazing, die Funkwagen ist here. So this is definitely already turning out to be quite a different match. I mean, this is overall going to be quite an interesting match, at least I hope you think so. I mean, it's not going to be the freestyler one, but I think it might actually be going to turning out a bit closer again. Watch it for the ending. Kevin Macleod here running a bit around. We already seen the field support truck out for IronRoman, the Roman of Iron. Kevin Macleod's continuing to take points. Funkwagen takes a very, very long route. It has a special mission from the fatherland. Possibly even the Führer himself, or not quite. And there we go, the Panzer Brigade rolls out into the town centre. Finding no Tommies, it moves out, or moves on. And there we go, recce section getting spotted. Lieutenant also legs it. Lieutenant Jones not wanting to get a stomach full of auto-cannon rounds. Panzer Grenadiers reinforcing, possibly waiting for some comrades. And there we go, the Funkwagen's moving in towards the fuel territory. Fascinating, fascinating, fascinating. Going to lock down, going to lock down. Oh, sneaky. Going for the fuel. And there we go, actually note. IronRoman loses munitions and fuel because, and it's sort of weird. It sort of goes up for all the territory, then sort of connected to this one. It's a bit of a weird thing, but basically you actually end up losing a bit of resources. Overall, to note here, not so many munitions. This could have been secured. So, and of course, IronRoman isn't aware of this. He's utterly unaware, and usually you don't notice this, but again, he's getting considerably less fuel and munitions at the moment, and all of that is going towards JohnBelloStory and the Panzer Brigade. Really sneaky move there early on, really sneaky. But again, probably also really well to do on Semois against the Brit as the Panzer Elite. So, nicely played right there by JohnBelloStory. Really big thumbs up. Big thumbs up. Another Panzer Grenadier squad setting up now the Panzer Support Command.
Ready. Go on, sir.
Bren carrier, and we're seeing sappers up, Piets on the way, and a Stuart light tank. Irish armoured guards realising they might be in bigger troubles than they had initially figured. Armoured cars keeping a watch here, although they might get a surprise with a Bren carrier and possibly now, of course, a Stuart light tank on the way. A small, very mobile strike force against vehicles. And it's actually quite rare that you see the Bren carrier being used sort of like a Piet vehicle, anything like that, but it's actually alright in that way. So nicely played there by IronRoman. He could do with them fields, casualty station or whatever. And there we go, another set of assault rifle, the Sturmgewehr, and we're seeing tank destroyer doctrine up, we're seeing Teller mines going down. And there we go, we are seeing IronRoman pushing forwards, the Bren carrier leading the way. The Bren carrier, in fact, also a reconnaissance vehicle, amongst other things. Panzer takes a hit, trying to lure them in, JohnBelloStory is spanking it all on perhaps trying to lure them into the mighty Teller mine. The Teller meaning, which basically means plate mine. And there we go. Bren carrier moves out. Is it going to go for it? Is it going? There we go, retreats and hits the mine out of control, crashing into the building, and oh my goodness, almost all but one man die in this horrific crash, and just look at it. Oh, so nicely cinematic. Certainly had me quite laughing the first time I saw that happen. Infantry section holding down here, cutting off JohnBelloStory's resources with this in a trench. Nicely done there. Points being secured there. No doctrine as of yet from IronRoman, though he's probably going to be a bit more careful now that he's seen one Teller mine and what that Teller mine can do. And he's getting another Bren carrier. That's pretty irregular. Usually you only see one Bren carrier from a Brit player. I'm not necessarily saying it bad, but usually, I mean, you only need one and then you move on to the next thing. But interesting. Interesting. Let's see if he actually... And he goes again for the, you know, tank hunter wagon sort of thing. Whatever you call it. Armoured cars coming out. Anti-tank half-tank providing support. And we are now, of course, seeing IronRoman is aware there's an anti-tank half-tank on the way. He is pulling out, well, on the field. And there we go. Piet's moving about trying to get the armoured cars. Anti-tank half-tank trying to hit the Stuart. First shot bounces off, revealing itself via the 37mm gun mounted there, was known as the door knocker or Heeresanklaftgerät or something like that. Oh dear, can't fully remember that one. More Panzer Grenadiers now on the way for JohnBelloStory again, going for a more mechanized start, just like 3-star, and then getting the infantry later on, but a slightly different way of doing it. Scout car went down. Anti-tank half-tank though managed to immobilize, and the sappers are too busy repairing the Bren carrier to support the Stuart. And the lieutenant went down. Lieutenant Jones is down. Come on, get the Bren carrier moving, lads. Another sapper section out. Stewart is a bit in dire straits. That Bren carrier needs to get its arse moving. Damaged engine on the Kenkrad. It's time to look at JohnBelloStory and the Panzer Elite, the Panzer Brigade. Panzer is moving down here and knocking out the captain, executing the captain in vicious manner. And there we go, the anti-tank half-tank is gone. Bren carrier charges in. Buttoning down, in fact, using the buttoning down of the Bren gun mounted on the Bren carrier. Sneaky play, and the Kenkrad is in a dire state, screaming it might not make it out of there. Piat misses just barely the armor car, and there we go, Kenkrad down armor car, trying to do as much damage to the Bren carrier as possible, forcing it away, possibly knocking it out. Anti-tank half-tank number 2 out. Incendiary grenades, and there we go, damaged engine, this could be it, this could be it. On the other hand, the armor car could also get the Bren carrier. This is tricky, tricky. Sappers moving up as swiftly as they can. Recce section moving up. Oh dear, oh dear. Hits the anti-tank half-track instead. This is absolutely tense. And there we go. We're seeing Panzers moving up to assault the Stewart light tank as it's getting repaired. A nice maneuver right there, flanking the down Stewart position, forcing away the sappers meant to repair it, leaving it an easy target for the anti-tank half-track. But of course, getting up before a cancer shot can go off. Very close there for JohnBelloStory and the Panzer Brigade. Its Panzer Brigade is swiftly beating a retreat. The recce section coming under fire. Direct hit on the anti-tank half-track, but oh, the Stewart did not make it. The anti-tank half-track kills it off. But very close there. Very close. It could have gone the other way. And now the Bren carrier actually moves in again. Heavily damaged. And it gets the anti-tank half-track in retaliation. Crikey, and what's going on down here? Not much. IronRoman and the Irish armoured guards have managed to secure most of the map. Another armoured car on the way. But not much else for JohnBelloStory. He's down to armoured cars. And Panzer Grenadiers, he's lacking a bit more. And if IronRoman was to get another, say, Stewart light tank or something else, he could actually do some damage. But this little combination is actually working out quite nicely for IronRoman so far. Most of the victory points are in the hands of the Irish armoured guards as well. Currently looking quite nicely for IronRoman. Quite nicely. The Germans have suffered quite serious setbacks. The Hun is in trouble. And he's actually... oh, he's wrecking the wreckage. He's ensuring that JohnBelloStory does not get a Bergetig and recovers things. Really thoroughly played there by IronRoman. And there we go. Pulling up behind the Bocage to fire away Piat rounds over there. And now full engagement on the Bren carrier. Other cyber section moving up but getting spotted out there. Quickly out. And there's nothing to really support. And we're seeing an armoured command truck out for IronRoman. He might go for the high munitions. And of course, he's none the wiser. He doesn't know he's quite lacking in fuel. Or why he is. So in that sense, I mean, any sort of armoured advancement by IronRoman is severely hampered. And that's definitely also an advantage for JohnBelloStory. It allows him to focus more on anti-infantry and, well, anti-Bren carrier. And there we go. Assault rifles tear through the thin armor on the Bren carrier, spinning it out of control, crashing it in. Not quite the same explosion where we saw several sappers getting murdered in quite the frontal collision with the side of a house. Apparently hedgerows are a bit softer. And there we go, Heinz. We destroyed the Bren carrier. And what now? Ich weiß nicht. Perhaps some Tellermines. And we are seeing our heads are coming up for JohnBelloStory. No actual heads, I think, were actually there in during Market Garden. I do not believe they actually reached that position. We could, of course, imagine it's a Yak Panzer IV, which the Panzer Brigades might have had some of. But as far as I'm aware, no headsers. They came much later for the Western Front than they did on the Eastern Front, where they actually were there much earlier. In that sense, the hetzer never really fitted in, and I think the Yak Panzer IV would have been a slightly funner move, but that's not to say that the Yak Panzer the hetzer wasn't such a bad choice. It's still a cool little thing. Panzers are engaging out in the open. And right there, of course, JohnBelloStory has sort of secure himself against any sort of vehicular movement from IronRoman. Panzer is moving in. He might want to consider increased squad sizes, so it sort of gets more, you know, survivability for the squad by having another member, but also increased firepower, so there's another guy also firing away. Sabbath here taking a beating, and he must be spotting the heads as it's moving in. Adding into the fire against his men, and the mounted MG on the top actually managed to kill some poor bastard, and there we go, Panzer Grenadiers on the retreat. Staghound now. IronRoman's infamous mark, if you will, Staghound spam. And what the devil is this? A Churchill is out. We're actually seeing a Churchill. That is incredibly rare. Hetzer's first shot bounces off the very thick frontal plating of the Churchill. Second shot fails to penetrate as well. Churchill, on the other hand, has absolutely no problem whatsoever with that and secures a shot against the Hetzer, forcing away. Sappers providing support. Armor cars are quickly retreating, actually leaving the Hetzer a bit exposed. The Hetzer, though, has actually managed to maneuver in its slightly unfortunate position. And there we go, we are seeing IronRoman pushing forwards. The Hetzer only exposing the rear, and there's no armored cars or infantry to cover the flanks. Rear armor hit by the Churchill and the Piats. Damaged engine. Oh dear, JohnBelloStory, you were too quick to abandon your Hetzer. Nein, nicht die Hetzer. And they died as heroes, abandoned by their comrades. Although the Hetzer managed to secure another kill with this MG before it dies. But that was not too well handled, I think, there by JohnBelloStory. Not too well handled. Panzer X on the way. Panzer support command upgrade. We might be expecting a Panther rush to try and combat this new threat being delivered from the Irish Armoured Guards. And the Churchill tank actually had the distinction of being the first West Allied tank to actually knock out a Tiger tank. It did so in Tunisia. So fun little story there. But it had about, I think, 112 millimeters of thick frontal armor. It was, though, not as such actually designed to take on other tanks. That was sort of the difference between Allied armored doctrine and Axis armored doctrine. The Germans always figured that they'd have to fight tanks at some point. Eventually, of course, after 1941, such on where they realized, well, having specialists sucks. As such. So they always assigned even the heaviest of tanks to be able to deal with other tanks, whereas, for example, the Churchill was not really designed with that in mind. But we are seeing Panzers moving up here against the infantry section, which is actually quite immobile. This could actually prove to be a huge problem. They do manage to leg it in time. But definitely close. And we're seeing a Goliath now for JohnBelloStory's Funkerwagen down south. At the same time, Panzer command upgrade on the way. Points are being secured. Irish Armour Guards gaining a bigger and bigger grip on the map. And there we go. Panzer command upgrade ready. Every upgrade has been researched. And we are going to see the Panther off-map combat group coming very soon. Goliath sneaking in, might hit the Staghound. And there we go, IronRoman moves up to close, and there we go. Oh, detonated a bit too quickly. Nonetheless, heavy damage to the Staghound, going to force it back for repairs. IronRoman securing the center of town. Armor cars rolling about, and there we go, Panther battle group ready. Of which the Panzer Brigades were really the only unit as such to have Panthers in the whole Market Garden operation. Recce section getting hunted down. Take quite a bit of damage in the process. Staghounds and Churchill reacting to this. A front against the Commonwealth. Definitely not Krieger to shoot retreating men. And there we go, Staghound sets in. Churchill lumbers forward like a huge beast. Crushing both cars, but not really catching up at all to the enemy armored cars. Interesting enough, IronRoman does not seem to be catching on, even despite the fact he's been seeing a Goliath from this area. That ought to be an indication that, perhaps those Huns have something sneaking about in our rear lines. Now, Terry, you're just being silly, is apparently what he's thinking. But we are seeing armor cars getting repaired. Another Kenkrad on the way. There's quite a few Kenkrads lost in this fight. I'm too fucking... I pity that bed and what it's going to receive. But repairing the armoured cars, good job there. But again, he's a bit lacking in the stuff that can deal with star counts and Churchills. And we're actually seeing a 17-pounder gun going up for IronRoman. Again, he must be aware that he's lacking fuel and he's trying to make up for it in other departments. But again, he doesn't seem to be sort of figuring out where that all that fuel is going off to. Tisk tisk. But actually, Royal Engineers, that's a pretty rare doctrine ever used. Largely because it's quite unwieldy and not so effective. Largely because it was once effective, and that pretty much led everyone to just going for what was known as Sim Cities. So that was a bit of a mess. And of course, we are going to see a Panther battle group to try and break things out there for JohnBelloStory as the victory points continue to tick down, as the losses continue to mount. And we're actually seeing a mine down there for IronRoman. My goodness. And the church is being stuffed with sappers and Piets. And there we go, Reckless Section getting assaulted from several sides. And they're going to have to retreat through all of this. So many Panzer Brigades with assault rifles. I fear this will be the end. Not even a posthumous Victoria Cross. And there we go, 2 star counts rolled forward, tearing through the Panzer Grenadiers and sending them off. And 1 Panzer Grenadier bites it. But the Panzer Brigade has been pushed back severely. They are quite boxed in for the moment, and again, they are very much dependent on the Panthers, to sort of really successfully break through, which also means that JohnBelloStory has to do this right, otherwise he's pretty much buggered. As he will then, of course, have expended 1,000 manpower, nothing. Another lieutenant out, and looks like he's going to go down. There we go.
Lost a lieutenant.
Mine's going down for IronRoman. Actually, quite nice to see. Quite nice to see. Not a bad idea at all. They might also want to consider mining this avenue, since it's definitely the more open part where he's not focusing his defenses. And going for the fuel point. Armoured cars and Panzers doing what they can. A bit of a futile fight as 2 star counts push forward, but at the same time the cavalry arrives. The Panthers are on their way. 2 mighty Panzerkampfwagen 5 moving forward as troops are getting suppressed. Armoured cars are getting blasted. The flak fearlings desperately trying to defend their comrades, but there we go. Armoured car down, but the Panthers are within range. And there we go, re-armoured hit. Star counts are in trouble. As the might of the Third Reich pushes forward and seemingly can't hit. And there we go, rear armor hit. 1 more hit and that star count is toast. Destroyed engine, well, pretty much then. And there we go, armored cars, Panzers pushing forward and out of control star count. Definitely recovery right there for JohnBelloStory. Panzer Grenadiers and armored cars following in the wake of this armoured wedge, or the considerably small one. Looks like a section could go down. We're seeing an anti-tank gun up, a 17-pounder, and doing terrible damage to the Panther. The 17-pounder gun was quite the effective anti-tank gun. And certainly able to assault a rather big one and rather had to be towed around by vehicles. Which is why it can't actually be in the game as a movable thing, because the whole pathing apparently is a problem. For Relic, actually Duffy made a comment about that on the forums. Largely came down to the fact that trying to sort of make pathing for 2 rectangular objects is quite difficult and, while not impossible, would require a lot of work. Which I suppose is fair enough. When you're just going to do it for a few anti-tank guns, you'd have to actually then proceed to do a lot more stuff to sort of make it pay off. Well, we're seeing armored cars engaging the troops right down there. Panthers getting repaired.
Germans are after
And the lovely British music playing at the background. I believe it was actually recorded using the Prague Philharmonic Orchestra as the Budapest one. Either of those, and I believe the same orchestra is actually being used for the Company of Heroes 2 soundtrack.
Just waiting for contact.
So that's actually quite nice, but Stackhouse still on the move. And we're actually seeing the armored command trucks actually being pulled back. Clearly IronRoman felt that was a bit too exposed. It's getting more scout Stackhouse, which might be a bit of a slight problem, but again, he's not getting a lot of fuel, so again, he can't do much about it.
Send your message.
He is not doing much about it. And I don't think he's actually gone for secured resourcing to sort of try and, you know, push even more resources out of that fuel point. He might want to try that. But Panthers on the move. Panzers advancing. Oh dear, might going for anti-tank hand grenades. And there we go. A volley of them launched. And there we go. 17-pounder gun gone. Panzer squad went down. Churchill moving forward. Staghounds, sappers, infantry sections. But now the path is clear for the Panthers. Since that rather nasty 17-pounder gun is gone, and the Churchill's rear is exposed at the very same moment as the Panzers arrive. Mine very close to setting off. Sappers providing cover fire from the church. And there we go. Mine goes off, damaging the engine of both Panthers and taking hits from Pietz and the 17-pounder gun right between the church and the house. Hopefully with armor-piercing rounds in support to really get that killing blow effect. Panther down. Panther down. Churchill also went down. Really nasty armoured battle there. Panther needs to get out of there, though.
Ready to roll. Ready to roll.
Still no attempt at secure resourcing. A lot of manpower being floated. Staghound moving in against the Panther. Not really going to do much. The Sappers really have the only chance of really slaying the beast. And the Panthers moving away. While Panzer Grenadiers are moving up to support. A fresh squad has been sent in to replace the one lost. Still no increased squad sizes. I would like to see that from JohnBelloStory. Fighting continues viciously. At the same time, armoured car doing a bit of nice work here on the right flank. Crowd moving up, of course, can also repair, but can also take points and repair when, of course, you have tank destroyer doctrine.
17-pounder ready.
And IronRoman trying to react to the flanking there on the by the armoured car. But at the same time, the Panther pushes up there, having been repaired, and now the Panzer goes follow up with dual Panzer strikes in hand. Panzer is forcing away the Sapper support. 17-pounder gun turning about. Stackhouse not really happy about this either. Casualty cleaning station up. And there go Panzers advancing a bit too far right within the range of the vehicles. No, the casualty cleaning station. No, never mind. And they go retreat from the infantry. Panther, oh, needs to be careful. Took a nasty hit there from the 17-pounder gun. Nice advancement up the right-hand side by JohnBelloStory again, using the Panthers not just as a tool for breaking through, but also clearly as a distraction, forcing IronRoman to divert attention away from the right-hand side, allowing JohnBelloStory to advance and make good work there for the Panzer Brigade. Panther, though, is in need of repairs again. Stackhound knocks out the Kenkrats.
Recon section ready for deployment.
Another recon section out for IronRoman. He knows he can't do anything with the officers, or at least he's not going to bother. And a crocodile. A crocodile. He's actually also getting a Firefly, but clearly again he doesn't have enough fuel, so he's relying heavily on the Royal Engineers to actually provide him with armour. And this time a crocodile, which should be much more effective against infantry. And this is the proper crocodile, with flamethrowers mounted right there. It actually had a small trailer to pull after it, but again might not have been practical, so instead it got some fuel tank stuck on the side of it. Going off for cutting off the resources right there, but apparently gets a bit cautious. Churchill reporting, sir. Going to watch all the centre victory point. It's definitely going to be a problem for the infantry to actually attack that way. In particular, since all the heavy cover is definitely only going to be to the advantage of the Crocodile.
Crocodile has arrived at the grid point.
All right, chaps. Fire her up.
Not enough command points for the Firefly. JohnBelloStory keeping up the pressure for the Panzer Brigade, the Führer and Vaterland. Or possibly not the Führer. Let's return to JohnBelloStory. Again, this is also one of those longer matches. Panzer is all on the retreat. A vampire here. A vampire. And looks like another Panther battle group is going to get called in for JohnBelloStory and the Panzer Brigade.
300 points.
Recce section advancing, and no real support for the Panther, and there we go. Second grouping of Panthers rolling out.
Enemy forces engaging heavy Panzer.
Panther doing what I can, not really scoring a lot of kills on the Tommies as they advance. The other two continue their advance. Panzer is going to move out. Some actually quite veteran. Still no increased squad sizes. I would really like to see that. But there we go. Tommy's on the run and going to encounter the two Staghounds. Armored car seems to be just not bothering with anything, having lost the will to do anything apparently. Staghounds quickly retreating. There we go. We actually do see the armored car then quickly pulling up. Sappers being engaged by the Panther infantry following up. Staghounds quickly moving out. Oh dear, another Kenkrad going down. The Staghound pack proving quite vicious. And Panthers actually rolling into town, taking heavy hits from the Churchill. 17-pounder gun. Piats, mines, everything. One Panther heavily damaged. Careful. Oh, another mine goes off. Destroyed engine. This is going terribly for JohnBelloStory. His armoured assault trying to recapture the city is going awfully. Tank shock being used by the Churchill on the infantry. Staghound down, anti-tank grenade. Clearing out the crew members, but not the gun itself. Main gun destroyed. 17-pounder gun mounted Firefly moving up. On one side, the other Panther trying to get the flamethrower Churchill. Panther out of control. Third Panther nowhere to be seen. Except now. And the other Panther trying to make an escape. Oh, they're taking the wrong path right in front of the 17-pounder gun, which has just been recruited. And the Panther is lost. Two Panthers down in a brutal engagement in the center. And it's time for the mid-game analysis. That was absolutely bad for JohnBelloStory. He lost two Panthers for the cost of one Staghound. Of course, he forced the anti-tank gun to be recruited, but I'm pretty sure he wanted it completely gone, so not so solid there, not an engagement for him. JohnBelloStory, though, needs, I think, to first isolate the center, because, I mean, it's rather where IronRoman is focusing most resources, but at the same time, due to the buildings, it's also a lot more limited. It can't cover other areas well, so by going for the sides, he might be able to hold off better, and as the Panzer Elite having a more mobile force, he can actually do so. What IronRoman needs to do is actually build a solid front line, and, you know, try to at least cover up at least two of the victory points if he can, of three, but he needs, you know, to not just focus all of his resources around one point. That's going to be something that JohnBelloStory can take advantage of. JohnBelloStory also needs to engage his Panthers a bit more cost effectively. Also, I suggest some increased squad sizes to get more out of his squads, and also make them a lot less likely to get bloody well killed. He might also want to consider a mortar half-track just for fun of it. IronRoman needs Fireflies. He should have had a command tank to really help the Fireflies, but I suppose that can't be helped. IronRomans will be IronRomans. But again, it needs to build a defensive line up. Might want a casualty cleaning station more. More mines, actually. More mines. Immer mehr Minen. And I think that's really about it. He just needs to keep up the pressure on JohnBelloStory and cause him some grief. But let's return to the fight. Panther a bit on its own, pulling back. Panzer is going to move out. Armored car holding that point there. And IronRoman a bit on the move again. Firefly moving in. Taking a nasty hit though from the Panther, but the Panther itself needs to get away. It is not in a good fighting condition. Also, IronRoman needs to get his ass around and knock out that vampire. As that is definitely making this fight a lot harder for him. Much harder. But holding up the position with a 17-pounder gun, which has now received the doctrine fortifications, so it's actually a bit tougher to deal with. He could, of course, also consider getting the expert repairs and then actually over-repairing it, so it's even tougher to deal with. In fact, I think IronRoman should consider over-repairing things that might actually benefit him quite a bit in this fight. And a Goliath on the move. Could get the recce section. And there we go. 3 Brits down. One last man, noting his friends getting blown to bits in front of his very eyes. Church will require quite weird repairs again. Also, by expert repairs could be a good upgrade for IronRoman in the face of JohnBelloStory and the 107th Panzer Brigade, which was actually apparently reformed into a full Panzer Grenadier division afterwards, which I actually didn't quite know. I thought most of them had sort of been, disbanded, but apparently some of them were actually turned into full Panzer Grenadier divisions. Though I don't think any were turned into Panzer divisions. Armoured car in trouble with a British armoured car. Though technically it was actually an American armoured car, which the British actually largely were the users of. And there we go, the Panzer Brigade quickly retreats. And JohnBelloStory making a shift towards the left-hand side, more open. So in that sense, his Panthers will have a bit of advantage. Firefly advances. Slowly but surely. And there we go, another Panther battle group arrives. That is 6 Panthers actually all in all. Is that called in? Panther is tearing through the sappers quite nicely. Again, with increased quarters, that might have done so faster. Sappers still hold up in the church. And again, making moves towards that victory point, but the Panthers on the roll. Advancing for the fatherland. And there we go, IronRoman advances, coming straight into the line of fire of the Panther, that so far survives, and of course running line of sight for the Firefly. Again, the Firefly has one of the longest, ranges in the game. It can really fire from quite a bit of far away, which makes it, something you want to usually keep in the rear. And if you can then get a command tank so it can fire really fast, it can become really lethal. Recce section in trouble from the Panthers. Looks like he will be making it out of there. Panther repaired. Another cannon crowd on the way. Another Firefly probably on the way. The British generally did not have a lot of Fireflies, which rather meant they formed them out to sort of support other Panzer platoons. Oh, Panther got a captain, I think. Or was it a lieutenant? Oh, a lieutenant, actually. Nice of that. But, again, lots of Fireflies. So again, they had to sort of hand them out to other tank platoons to provide fire support. Some other nations had a tendency, I think, of actually sort of forming them into more independent platoons. I think the Czechs actually did that with their armoured brigade. But sappers from the church once more proved to be a nuisance, forcing away the Panther. Other Panthers coming up here. And Panzer goes moving in. Might go straight in for the 17-pounder gun, but the Churchill is moving in. The Panzers themselves are taking heavy losses again. Increased squad sizes. And there we go. Quickly suppressing them with tank shock. Panzer effects and anti-tank grenades. And one squad is down. 2 squads, in fact, go down. Horrific losses for the Panzer Brigade right there. Only the guy with the Panzerschreck makes it out of there. Not good at all, not good at all. Again, I really, Really think he needs increased squad sizes to sort of make his squads a lot more likely to survive even a poor engagement. Because the fact that with 3 men in a squad, they're very likely to quickly die when things turn sour. In particular against the Brits. So that is something to consider. But quickly replacing them, that at least is good. And Firefly once more engaging this Panther from a safe range. Panther running into trouble. Getting off a nice shot on the wreckage section. And Chemtrap once more unsupported, getting assaulted by the stack count. Panther's not even reacting.
The enemy has destroyed one of the Kampfgruppes vehicles.
Send your orders. Schützentrupp here.
We are losing ground.
Panzer Grenadiers on the move again. Still no increased squad size, with once more Sturmgewehrs being handed out. And there we go, actually expert repair sappers. Though so far no attempt at doing the same on the 17-pounder gun. Stackhound taking a few hits. Going to get hunted down by the Panthers. And crushed. Nasty hit right there, nasty hit.
Supply lines are broken. We have territory cut off from
Panther getting repaired. Panzer is going to follow up again. No increased squad sizes. Though we are seeing field craft going up. I mean, it's going to help, of course, take points and spot mines, but I don't really think that is what JohnBelloStory needs at the moment. Machine gun position getting assaulted. We are seeing JohnBelloStory going straight for the jugular, going straight for the base, though that might not fully work out. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Firefly actually does not react. This is a bit wondrous. But at the same time, engagement going up in the north. Panzer is leading the assault on the wreckage section. Panther providing fire support. 11 kills. And Panzer is adding in a lot of death as well. 12 kill. And there we go. Veteran 2 giving a machine gun and making a bit more helpful against infantry. At the same time, Panthers managed to knock out the machine gun replacement, killing quite... Oh, a wreckage section down for IronRoman. Firefly again did nothing in that engagement. Not good at all. Not good at all. And now the Panthers are quick to pull away after their little hit and run affair. And a 17-pounder gun. IronRoman needs to cover his arse. And again, he's very much reliant on 17-pounder guns. Again, because a lot of fuel is being siphoned away. And again, IronRoman has no idea where it is. Yeah. But there we go, Veteran 2 Panthers definitely going to help against the British infantry with its machine gun on top. And of course the defensive Veteran 2 role is just going to make it tougher. Panthers back, could do with a bit of repairs. I wonder where the expert repair sappers have gone off to. And still no attempt at all repairing the 17-pounder guns. I'd like to see that again. That would make them a much more larger obstacle for JohnBelloStory and the Panzer Brigade. And actually time to look back at IronRoman. I believe, and we're actually seeing a Fort barracks going up there. Quite a bit of manpower, and again, not a lot of fuel. And interesting enough, again, he's not going for the secured resourcing on the hit. Oh, no mind, he's actually holding pairing. Can't see it as the enemy. My fault, mea culpa. But again, I'm pretty sure he's not going for the secured resourcing. At least it doesn't look like that. But again, I could be wrong there. Will certainly not deny my faults there. Ah, there we go. He finally goes it just as it says, IronRoman, get it, and then he gets it. Of course, it doesn't help him a lot. I mean, he just boosted him from +6 to +19. Again, this is really, draining the life out of IronRoman. This is absolutely fiendish, clever, great. And it's really making it hard for IronRoman to do what he usually wants to do. Making me wish I could get that as a Wehrmacht player, but can't have everything in the world, I fear. But now with 2 Fireflies. Lieutenant pushed away, another lieutenant in fact. He's got quite a few officers going down. Which of course also probably explains again why he's also going for the oil repairs again. He needs to get the most out of his vehicle without getting them lost. He cannot afford to lose it. I mean, that's again really putting IronRoman into a sort of dangerous situation. He can't afford to lose a lot of resources. 4 barracks can really take a lot of fire from the Fireflies. Panther moves up, but it's going to be only that one. Still no increased squad sizes. Staghounds open up. There we go. Oh dear, taking heavy hits from the Staghound. And the squad goes down. Again, increased quarters would have been really nice. Then there's in fact a Panzerschreck for IronRoman to secure in the name of King George.
Firefly bombed up and ready to go.
Firefly, though, has taken heavy damage. Panther not so much. Smaller force on the right-hand side. Vampire half-tech continues to suck the life out of IronRoman. Huh. Wait. Was that an doctrinal upgrade for getting more resources? Huh. Again, it's sometime I've actually seen that bit of British doctrine, so. Huh. And then he's actually going for it.
Battalion is
A
down
bit
to
late,
200
though.
points.
A bit late. Oh well. Live and learn, live and learn. So that should hopefully get him even more fuel out of that.
Battalion HQ is confirmed.
And there we go.
Securing his
Getting up to plus 31, but only getting plus 23 fuel. Tisk, tisk. Plus, of course, he also has then, so technically he should be getting, a lot more than he is getting. Another Goliath rolls out. JohnBelloStory pushing his luck. Entrenching his position right there. Slit trench with a Panzerschreck in it. JohnBelloStory again. Vice-like grip on the sides. Recce section down south taking an absolute beating. Panther getting pushed back. Heavy damage. Firefly's now on the advance. Continues to blast away at that forward barracks. And a Yak Panther has arrived. Yak Panther. Heavy tank destroyer with a high velocity 88mm gun. The same as the King Tiger and the same as the Elephant, which will be in coming years too. And there we go. That Firefly is quickly going to go down. And there we go. Firefly is lost. Yak Panther scored a glorious kill for the fatherland, I believe. So that's definitely going to cause IronRoman a bit of a problem. Pietz continues to blast away. Panzer's going to move up. We might be seeing some incendiary grenades going down in the trenches. Lieutenant Staghound on the flank. And there we go. Incendiary trenches getting lobbed into the trench, turning it into a barbecue pit. Panther clears through the infantry, trying to hold the point. Looks like one lonely sapper makes it out of there. And so much manpower being flowed. IronRoman probably wants to spend it on tanks, Fireflies, but he can't. He can't. He simply can't. Not looking good for him. And pushing into the center again. Only one sapper. IronRoman is slowly getting overstretched. And again, he's floating so much manpower. And he can't really use it on what he wants to use it on. Churchill advancing, getting another kill. Doing nicely there. And of course, JohnBelloStory could consider launching an attack right into there and clearing out that last bit of IronRoman and then possibly trying to lock this down again. But we are seeing another push out from IronRoman. Another Firefly to replace the one lost. He could also consider just throwing in a Churchill just to sort of give him something, some extra armor, some extra targets to present with, and something to soak up all the damage from the German Panzers. That could at least be a possibility. Or at least another 17-pounder gun to cover this part of the map. But this one's actually holding out for the Commonwealth. And there we go, over-repairing it.
We're losing contact with the strategic sector.
Making it better than factory fresh. Which is quite the achievement. He's done it with everything he can, actually. Even the casualty cleaning station. Oh well, let's speed this up a bit. Going to be a long match anyways.
The Germans are after one.
Firefly on the move. IronRoman moving forward, and there we go. Crocodile moving forwards, getting another Panzer Grenadier. IronRoman though needs to make a move soon. He can't afford to sit about. And there we go. He finally gets, and there we go. Fuel munition goes up quite a bit. But the damage has been done. Firefly's taking several hits. Panzers advancing out. And we do finally see increased squads up for JohnBelloStory, but that's just not happened to these Panzer gunners. They have not been reinforced to full. There we go. Main gun destroy on the Firefly. No attempt at really pulling in from the other side with the Panthers. I think that's a bit of a missed opportunity right there by JohnBelloStory. He could have pulled off a full assault and possibly really knocked out IronRoman from here by attacking with a Yak Panther and the Panther from one side, and then two Panthers, possibly an armored car from the other side. That could really have put IronRoman in quite the vice-like grip, a pincer maneuver, and crushed him. Sadly though, JohnBelloStory never really gotten around to that. Instead giving IronRoman some time to now rebuild his forces with full access to his fuel for once. So of course see if he actually pulls it off. But there we go, another Firefly on the way. Let's return to JohnBelloStory and the 107th Panzer Brigade, speeding things up a bit again, slowing down here in the end. Veteran sergeants. JohnBelloStory is spending resources and upgrades when he can't train anything. Nice approach. Though I might suggest actually taking that point there. And looks like IronRoman is preparing for an assault on the right hand side.
Work together to defeat our enemies.
Panthers move forward to meet the challenge. Right into the line of fire of the Fireflies, but at the same time they do get within range, but there's also Piats and Panzers ready to engage them, which could actually prove a bit problematic for the Panthers. Third Firefly rolls in. The Panthers are heavily outnumbered. There's nothing to support them. At the same time, though, Yak Panther moving up. Panzers following up in the wake. Still not fully reinforced. JohnBelloStory. Panther down. Panther down. Panzerkampfwagen is kaputt. Main gun destroyer on the Firefly, but will it be worth what amounts to soon 2 Panthers at the same time? Full assault going in. Getting the 17-pounder gun in town. Firefly down. Destroyed engine on the Panther. Panzer is going to retreat right through this entire mess. Yak Panther and Panther pushes into down 65 to 80 victory points. Really getting tense here, really getting close between the two players. Panther pushes in Fireflies, Sappers, Piats, Churchills. There we go, trying to knock out the remaining Fireflies, but at the same time has to be careful with all the Piats and Panzers. And there we go, Yak Panther taking several heavy hits to the rears. Panther also pulls up, providing a rear guard for the Yak Panther. Nicely done there. Staghound arriving now for IronRoman. And now there's only an armored car left behind to cover this. Why he did not try to clear out the infantry for the Panthers, it's a bit beyond me. But troops are reinforcing there for JohnBelloStory. And looks like the armored car actually managed to escape the clutch of the Commonwealth. The clutches, not the clutch. That's silly. But not a good engagement right there for JohnBelloStory. But and he can sprint now. He's actually got his Panzers fully upgraded and allowing them to sprint. And he's just dashing in. He might try to just unload as many anti-tank grenades on the Firefly. But now he actually needs to get out of there before he loses much again. Very nice attempt though, but sadly did not really result in the damage he might have hoped for. It's a bit of a waste of good Panzer grenades there by JohnBelloStory, I fear. Panther and Yak Panther on the move again, though heavily damaged. He's still not repaired them. On the other hand, he might be hoping to take advantage of the heavily. And we're seeing another 17-pounder gun up for IronRoman. There we go. Yak Panther knocks out the Firefly, brews it up. And there we go, Yak Panther pulling out. Another lieutenant could go down for IronRoman and the Irish Armoured Guards. And there we go.
Send your mission orders. Schützentrupp here.
Panzer's going to get enforced again. He needs that Yak Panther. He needs that Panther repaired. And that Ford Bags is not going to be holding up for much longer. 56 to 56 victory points. Still no repairs for the Yak Panther. There we go, though. There we go. And no attempt from IronRoman to actually hit the left side, even though there's only a Yak Panther covering it. A very damaged Yak Panther. No further mines from IronRoman to, say, protect the victory points against small dashing moves, or, say, coming up against Panthers, Yak Panthers charging in to hit your other side. Going for that victory point, we are seeing an armoured car rolling in. Panther still not fully repaired. And there we go, anti-tank grenades getting lobbed at the stag count again. Panzer Brigade holding up the house, and there we go. Main gun destroyed. Panther just needs to get off one good shot. And there we go. Staghound is lost at the same time. We are seeing one plucky lieutenant moving up on his own towards the victory point, and there's only Yak Panther to stop him.
No contact.
Still no repairs on the Yak Panther, and the lieutenant wisely pulls out. Another squad of Panzer Grenadiers on the way. In fact, several. Looks like the Panzer Brigade is getting ready to launch its final infantry reserves. And there we go. Churchill and the Fireflies moving up.
We are losing ground.
Going to use the Churchill to clear away the infantry while the Firefly deals with the Panther, which is now veterancy free, giving it armoured skirts, protecting against Panzers Rex and Piats. And there we go. Churchill tearing through the Panzer Grenadiers, parting the sea of... well, Panzer is like Moses parted the Red or Black Sea, whatever. Firefly, oh well, flamethrower unleashed so much fire and flame, I keep messing it up. Not having much luck actually killing the Panzers, and there we go, Sappers moving up, they need to repair. Panzer Strike hits the Panther, but the armoured skirts absorb it. 10 kills on the Churchill. Another Firefly moves up, and Churchill goes out of control, rolling through the Panzers, lighting several on fire. Panther needs to get out of there. Come on, Panther. But no, it continues the good fight, despite being outgunned. Yak Panther still not repaired, but has actually managed to get defense veterancy. And the Panzers continue to repair. Panther is lost. Veterancy free. Panther is lost. Oh, what a waste. Firefly hits the other Firefly. Talk about friendly fire. And there we go. Repairing the Yak Panther. Come on, get the other squad on it. There we go. Nice repair rate now. Heavy losses for the Panzer Brigade, but also for the Commonwealth. Another Churchill is out. Sappers moving about as well.
The enemy has moved against one of Germany's victory points.
And moving towards the victory point. Lovely.
One of our sectors has been cut off.
And the armor car quickly jumps upon the Brits with a Bren gun action, and they do button it down, trying to get with a Panzer Schreck. Firing away. Nasty stuff, and we are seeing a full secondary wave of Panzers going to follow up on this. 39 to 34, still very, very close to the two players. Infantry section getting pushed away, down to one man. Will the Panzers be able to get him? No, he pulls it off. But we are going to see a swift counterattack from the Commonwealth. Churchill, Sappers, and Fireflies on the move. Damaged engine, that bodes ill for the armoured car. Panther battle group, though, very close to getting sent in. Very close. And the Churchill's going to move in, deal with the Panzer gunners, and there we go. Armoured car is down. Come on, Fraps, stabilize, stabilize. Please. A bit of an unsettling end, in that sense. But I suppose we can't have everything. But a small assault to take out that 17-pounder gun position again. And absolutely a linchpin of IronRoman's defences. Another Panzer squad moves in from the north, heavily equipped with Panzers. And we're seeing IronRoman utterly dug in right there with all of his tanks hold down. 17-pounder gun position down, Staghounds moving in right in front of all the Panzer guns with a Panzers. 8 Panzers. Well, 4 Panzers, 8 men, and there we go. Just heavy damage. Yak Panther goes in full bore. And switching over to IronRoman, things are looking dire. He's got plenty of munitions, but he has to use another Panther battle group on the way. And there we go, Staghound down, but there's a lot of sappers, there's Panzers, there's heavy fire now, the Fireflies are coming in from the other angle, but the Panthers are arriving. The Fireflies are caught out position. Too late for them to go hold down now. Central victory point being fought over. 18 points left. Yak Panther taking heavy damage. Churchill moves forward. Another Staghound being sent in. And Yak Panther goes down. Yak Panther goes down. Oh no. And the other Firefly's going to get singled out. Churchill's managed to save the centre, but losses have been punishing. They have lost all of their Fireflies. They're down to a Churchill, a Staghound, and a few sappers. On the other hand, JohnBelloStory is not in a good position either. We're seeing an attempt at a trench, but the sappers, as they're madly digging it, get cut down. We're seeing another push towards it, but no lieutenant to lead the move. And the central victory point taken again. So close. So close. And the last few Brits hold up in the church. Panzer flying, buttoning down the Panther, but take losses. The Panzer man is gone. Panther charges forward. Going to stop a few sappers moving towards that victory point. Speed, efficiency, tact. Yes, I don't think there's much tact over Staghounds. Panzer is forced away, but nonetheless there's 2 Panthers left. And IronRoman's reserves have been exhausted. And JohnBelloStory quite impressed with the game. It's certainly one of the rarer games when you actually see Commonwealth and Panzer League playing. IronRoman's response, dude, you're a smurf, man. And JohnBelloStory going, I leave, I won. GG. Smurf honor is that, what's that? Smurf all being when, you know, you've smurfed, but, you know, you let the other guy get the win so you don't hurt his ranking because, you know, you're just trying to play for fun. So, nicely done there by JohnBelloStory. Nice sportsmanship. Perhaps less so by IronRoman, but he is not known for that in that department. Overall, interesting game, fun game. Actually fun to see Churchill's, fun to see 17-pounder guns being used. We saw a lot of things rarely used at all. We also saw a nice use of the Funkwagen, which I definitely think, despite, you know, it didn't actually do much, but as such in terms of action, but it was absolutely vital because it really made it difficult for IronRoman to go for any vehicles, any armour. So really nicely done there by JohnBelloStory. That was pretty much the hero of the match, the lowly Funkwagen, which is now just a ruin in the corner. But, you know, interesting use of the Panzers again. I would have liked to see some, you know, increased squads as early on. I would also like to see secured resources from IronRoman earlier on. Sadly, that did not happen. But overall, good use of his Panzer guns, good use of the Panthers. Heads, not so good. He shouldn't have abandoned it right there. And Yak Panther, alright. IronRoman, though, I think, again, should have used command tanks instead of Staghounds. Used Cromwells as well. And, well, the usual sort of things. But overall, nice match. great ending. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, why not subscribe and tell your friends? If you didn't, well, why not send a replay video and provide some feedback in the comments. What did you like? What did you think of this match? And otherwise, feel free to follow me on Facebook or Twitter. Links are in the description. Cheers.